Are you ready to feel maybe the biggest heart on the planet? This next guest has impacted community in an extraordinary way that I don't even think he quite gets, but he has. And we've been part of building community together for over a decade. It is such an honor to welcome very special guest, Big Poppa Gary Spears, to the Tougher Together Breakthrough Podcast. The Tougher Together Breakthrough Podcast is brought to you by RebeccahSilence.com. Please visit RebeccahSilence.com today. That's RebeccahSilence.com to learn more about programs for individuals, couples, children, families, and businesses. See for yourself at RebeccahSilence.com. RebeccahSilence.com. What's possible for your next steps in breakthrough and healing. So what is a breakthrough? It's finding your way out of suffering and stuck. It's that feeling of new energy, renewed life, and excitement. When I was 7 months pregnant with my second baby, I received a life-changing diagnosis. I had cancer. When I told my older daughter, she said, "So you're going to die?" And the only thing that saved my life during that time was knowing how to emotionally break through. Welcome to the Tougher Together Breakthrough Podcast. I'm your host, Rebeccah Silence. I'm a speaker, coach, and the creator of Healing is Possible. In each episode, I prepare you for life no matter what challenges you're facing. I'm going to invite you into the stories of real people who are living life in breakthrough and making the world a better place. If they can do it, so can you. Breakthrough is your right. Get ready to break through. Get ready for the rest of your life. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have a community around you that speaks the same language, that lives into more life and breakthrough? Our next guest has helped me for about a decade bring the community together through radio. Big Poppa, Gary Spears, he has interviewed some of the top celebrities in the world. He has been on air at the top of his game for decades, and it is such an honor, Gary, to be interviewing you today when usually it's the other way around.
Yeah, well, number one, thank you very much for inviting me. This is really awesome, and I'm really excited to be a part of this and to have you in control. I'm not sure what to expect. You're in control right now, so let's go. Let's have some
definitely have some fun. What have you learned about breakthrough over the years? What does breakthrough mean to you?
Wow. Nothing like coming with the artillery red hot on the front end, right?
You said let's go, so let's go.
For me, breakthrough is literally what it means. It's almost like a glass ceiling, if you will. You know, you think that you can go only so far, and then all of a sudden it's, you tap, 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 and you kind of, you get in and you break through to this next level. It's almost like a video game. You get to the next level of who you are and what you can be. And it's weird. I've never thought about explaining it like a video game, but it really does make sense, because once you break through to the next level, then the version of you gets extra characteristics. You get extra weapons. You get extra.
This is so freaking good.
No, but it's true though. We've been doing radio for more than 10 years together, and I just had this epiphany that literally breakthroughs are like a video game, because the more levels you break through, the better equipped you are to take on the world and what's coming ahead of you.
That is such an amazing metaphor. And our lives really are like a video game with never-ending levels to get to. It's not like there's an end either.
No. And I mean, honestly, I'm from Central New York, so half the people look like Super Mario, so it's fine.
Oh my goodness. I love Utica, New York. So what else do you want people to know about breakthrough in your own personal journey with breakthrough before we dive into breakthrough in community?
As far as personal breakthrough, it's different for everybody. Everybody is different. Everybody's experiences are different. Everybody's past is different. So what was breakthrough for me may not necessarily be breakthrough for you. And what finally does it for me to break through on whether it be something with my father from back in the day, or abandonment issues, or issues with just personal relationships in general, and whatnot. um, Everybody has a different thing, and a different thing is going to work for everyone. And it's just figuring out what that is. And once once it all syncs up, and like the Tetris comes together, another video game reference. Once the Tetris comes together, all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay. But sometimes you don't necessarily see that happening until almost like after it's happened.
And what personally has worked for you? I couldn't agree more. Breakthrough and healing, it isn't cookie cutter, but just share with us a little bit about who you are and your personal journey of breakthrough so listeners can get a feel for you.
I've always been a big guy. I've always been overweight. I've always been, that's where Big Poppa came from, for crying out loud. Somebody who's like 5'1" and 130 pounds, isn't going to be that. But the fact is that, there's always been a self-esteem thing with me, revolving my weight and my appearance and whatnot. I learned to cope through that through humor. And that's just kind of, beat them to the punch. And then that way no one has, anything to throw at you because you've already thrown it at them. And then you just kind of go on from there. When it comes to like personal relationships and stuff from my past, coming to terms with the fact that it's a lot of times has nothing to do with me. And I know I can't be alone. And when something happens and I'm in the situation and somebody does something, it's very easy to take it personally. And being able to step back and realize, yes, it may have happened to me, but it has nothing to do with me. It has something to do with them, some unresolved issue that they have that has absolutely nothing to do with me. I'm getting a little shrapnel, and it may not be fun, but ultimately, it's not about me. I'm not the cause of everything that I'm getting right now.
Or that you're around. And then I am imagining more video game references, right? Like the things get thrown at you in a video game, and it builds strength and it builds resilience, and it has you equipped to get to your next level when you're able to defeat these things that are flying at you. So what did it take for you to know that you had what it takes to be interviewing some of the world's biggest celebrities?
I didn't. I just kind of got thrown into it. It's you never get a chance to prepare. It's always like you're always preparing, and when it's time to go, you go. You're not going to be given an opportunity and then you prepare just for that opportunity, something you've never done before. It's literally, with me, it was get thrown into the fire and that's it. And you just kind of go and you've kind of learned what works and what doesn't. But I had been doing it for so long, and publicists trust me with their celebrities and with their whatever they are, so that I'm not going to embarrass them. I'm going to make them look good. I'm going to promote whatever it is they're there to promote, in an entertaining way. And that just comes with years of doing it.
So I'm hearing you say practice is a factor, and I'm also hearing you committed to just seizing opportunities and not wondering if you're ready. You just go.
Well, yeah, and a lot of times, especially in any form, it's weird that I consider myself part of entertainment because it's radio. But the fact is, a lot of times people don't know until it's like, oh, something happened. You got to do this, and that's literally what happened. The first time I did a celebrity interview by myself, I was the sidekick of a morning show, so I would like chime in, but I didn't steer the car. And they got sick last minute, and we still had this interview, and it was awful. It was absolutely awful. But I'm looking back, I'm saying that, but I learned so much just from being thrown into the fire and doing it and not having someone hold my hand. I literally just jumped in and it's either sink or swim.
Yeah, and it does take a special, I think, quality in people to be willing to be thrown into that fire. And I think what comes out of being willing to jump into the fires that are there, whether we like it or not, is opportunity for breakthrough. Yeah. So let's talk about our beginning of our radio show and how that came about. I mean, I see you absolutely as an entertainer and a huge part of the entertainment industry. You got to the top of the game you wanted to be in pretty fast.
Well, thank you very much for the kind words. That's super sweet of you. When I was growing up, single, it's myself and my mom. I'm an only child, and I watched her hustle. That's what she did. I didn't see her much because she was working all kinds of overtime. She was working for the state, and she was doing all that she could to provide the best life for me. And so that I could have opportunities and I could go without. So when um, I was able to get my foot in the door with radio, that's all I wanted to do. And there was three things what I wanted to do when I grew up. When I was in third grade, I was student of the month. And it was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, it's like radio DJ, a magician, or a professional wrestler. And I was able to get in as a radio DJ. And from that point, I immersed myself in it. And it's always been about getting better, moving forward, getting to a spot where, you're the focal point of the radio station, where they trust you to do, the big things. There's a concert that they need to have an introduction for. We want you to represent the station. We have a big celebrity coming in town, coming in studio. We want you to do, like, that's stuff that I've earned over the years. And that's because I literally have thrown myself into it. And I've learned from everybody that I've worked with.
That's another great key point, right? Like, letting yourself have permission to trust the vision you have for your life, that's huge. But also learning along the way and learning from everyone along the way, but also creating your own way at the same time. I mean, the next thing I want to ask you about is just your experience of what we did with Confession Tuesday, what we're doing with the radio show we have now. We broke through a paradigm, we shook things up and created something that wasn't there before.
No, we absolutely did. And it was a chance meeting. People may not know, you and I have known each other since teenagers. We were in high school together, and we weren't the best of friends in high school, but we were friendly. We were acquaintances, and we had run into each other at a local hockey game. And we were, talking, and you were telling me about this life coach thing that you were doing. And this is before, like, the big boom in life coaching. And from my point of view, doing a radio show, I was like, wow, that's really cool. So we ended up giving it a try. And the dynamic, number one, the easy dynamic of you and I was from the jump. But what you were saying and how you approach situations, and even though we would talk about a certain specific topic, the way that you would talk about it, most people who had something going on in their lives could take something away from it. And that really resonated. And that made Tuesday mornings, when we started it, literally appointment listening, because people didn't want to miss what we talked about and how you approach that situation. And it lasted all this time. It lasted to a new radio station. We're now doing Mental Wellness Wednesdays during my show, which is amazing. We've done a live stage show based on the radio show, which was really, really cool. So it really just kind of manifested. We started with something small, and then it got legs. And before we started doing it, you had just started your life coaching business, and you still had a day job at the time. And within a few months of starting this, you were able to leave the day job and literally do life coaching as your career. And you were able to do that because of that. Yeah. And by the way, you're welcome. No, but the fact is it literally took a life of its own. And now any life coach in the 315 area code traces
Yeah.
back to Rebeccah
Yeah. Well,
Silence. So
and thank you for sure for being willing to break through conformity to try something new. I think breakthrough takes risk. And the real thing that excites me the most about this episode with you today, Gary, is just talking about bringing community together. And you have been doing that your whole career, way before Confession Tuesday, right? People are alone on their islands, and then radio is a way to connect. And so I would love for you to just speak to what you've learned about bringing community together and what you want people to know about their one little life and what a difference it can make.
as far as community, again, being born and raised here, as we were graduating high school, the local Air Force base had just left. And that was a huge blow to the local economy. That was a huge blow to local industry. That was a huge blow to everything. And I got into radio as we were graduating high school, and I was interning, and then I ended up on the air. And one of the things that I'd always harped on, and still to this day, is local supporting local. If you're able to, support a local business in some way, shape, or form, they're the ones that are sponsoring the t-ball teams. They're the ones that are sponsoring the softball leagues. They're the ones that are giving to your fundraisers if somebody comes down with a disease or someone loses their home to a fire. It all goes from there. And then as the area has gotten better over the years with different companies, even sports teams and whatnot coming in, it's still that local supporting local is still there.
Yeah.
Even through COVID, everyone was supporting local, really made a concerted effort to support local to make sure that those local businesses
Well,
made it
and
through
this
those
is
hard
the
times.
Tougher Together Breakthrough podcast, and we are tougher together. And I do think Utica, New York, just a shout out, is one of the coolest communities I've ever seen. And that community does support each other in a way I've never seen before. And I think you, Gary, have been a big part of that in that community.
Well, that's very nice of you to say. I appreciate that. Literally all I can do is do. It sounds really weird. All I can do is do what I can. That's literally what came into my head. I'm literally just doing my job. My job. I always joke and say that I play Justin Bieber for a living, and I don't take it that seriously. But the fact is, I've been the voice of people's lives in this area for almost 20 years now. God, I'm old. But having that kind of lineage and having that kind of I don't want to say seniority, but people trust me. People trust what I say. People trust my opinions on things. And if something comes up, there have been times where people have been like, "What do you think?" Because they value my opinion on things, and being able to use that as a platform to help local businesses, as a platform to help the local economy, as a platform to help promote local events. That's all part of it. And yes, it's about entertaining, and the radio stuff is get the TSL and they'll get the ratings and da 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 da. But if you take care of your area, if you take care of your people, your people will take care of
It does
you.
take something special to be as influential as you've become. You have to genuinely care. And I think it's easy to be focused on our individual lives and our individual struggles. And then what is it that you would want our listeners and our audience to know about their ability to make a difference? Because they might be thinking, oh, he's, the number one DJ in this community and everybody knows him, so it's easy for him to use his influence and to make a difference. But you didn't have that when you first started. What do people need to know about what it takes to become someone that is influential and the go-to person in their community if they want to be a part of making their communities better?
Be authentic. Be you. Don't be fake. Be who you are. Be honest. You don't have to, if your honest opinion isn't something that they want to hear, you don't necessarily have to tell them. But there's a way to be honest and have integrity and do all of those things. And over the years, it takes time to build trust. And over the years, with the way that I've conducted myself on the air, even in public, and granted, I've had some mistakes, so don't get me wrong. But the fact is, over the years, I have a good reputation here in the community because of the way that I have been. And there are lots of, carny folk. I don't want to say carny folk, but a lot of people that try to take advantage and will say one thing, do another thing for a quick cash grab. And that's never been anything that I've done or been associated with. So a lot of times people have trusted, but it takes time, it takes integrity, and honesty. To be quite honest, people will respect you saying what it is and calling things out, and
I
trusting
think
that.
it's a
I
great
don't know if
answer. And
that
I'm
answers
thinking
your
about your
question,
metaphor
but
at the very beginning of our episode today as well about, it's, we start in level 0 in the game called our lives, AKA Gary's
but
right version of the video game. Like we start at the beginning, and then the more we're willing to learn from and keep trying and grow through and beat the level we're in to get to the next one over and over again, the more credibility we have with ourselves, but also with others. And then you genuinely care about getting to know the people around you. That's the one thing I wish you would talk about. Like, you genuinely light up when you get to meet new people and talk to new people. I've seen it. And you genuinely want to meet the business owners, and you genuinely want to make a difference in that community.
no, and thank you. And me, I'm very self-deprecating. I don't talk
You
like
have been
this. I
doing
don't,
personal growth
this
with
isn't
me
an
for a
angle that I
decade
talk
every single
about.
week on the radio.
Yeah, yeah. But this is a little different. Okay, again,
Yes,
again,
yes.
I'm driving
That's
the
true.
car normally, so. But as far as if I do my job well, people feel like they know me. People have an emotional connection or attachment to me. And if I'm doing my job well, that just happens. And people want to share things with me, and people are excited to, talk to me about this because they had a similar experience, or that because I had a similar experience. My youngest son is autistic, and I was going through, the growing pains of having an autistic child when autism wasn't necessarily well known, and being able to have other special needs parents come. I once told a story how um, we went to the movie theater and we were going to watch a movie, and something happened where the routine didn't quite fit, and like we had to wait, and Joshie had an autism meltdown right there in the middle of the movie theater. And at that point, you got to like just let him get it out and then move forward. And I told the story on the air how the people around me were giving me the stink eye, like I was a bad parent. And I literally said to them, he's autistic. He's having a meltdown. He's going to be fine. But being able to share how that made me feel, number one, any special needs parent has been in my shoes and has felt what I felt. But also, too, if I can share that and have people take a step back and take a moment before they give that stink eye, before they pass judgment on things, like stuff like that
Yeah.
all kind of
Perspective
adds
is really
to
what you're
the
talking
recipe.
about. And you've used your platform and your voice to give that and to bring that and to be that. And then when you talk about you're just doing your job, I just want to say, I think the way you do your job is to just be you, and we can all learn from that. There's not Gary doing his job and then a different you. People get you.
Yeah, yeah, and again, that's because I share so much of myself over the years, and that is, that's creating that connection, is just me being genuine. Granted, it's dialed up a little bit for entertainment purposes, but at the end of the day, it's me, and I'm really proud of what I've been able to build with throughout my career. I'm very proud on what you and I have been able to do together on the radio. I'm very proud of you and what you've been able to build, springboarding
Yeah.
off of what we started on the radio, like all that. Like I
Yeah.
really am proud
And
of
for everyone listening,
all of
what
it.
would it be like to get to be you, to get to impact community, and to be proud of that victory of giving your best and making a difference? And that's what I wanted this episode to bring to life and to bring to light, the possibility that we as just one person can each do so much more for our communities than we realize, just by being ourselves, just by lending an ear, just by paying attention, just because we care.
And to go to and I'm not a political person in any way, shape, or form, but sometimes people don't vote because they say, well, my vote won't count. Okay. The fact is, if you're your genuine self and you listen and you interact, you will find other people that have the same goals or the same passions as you. And if you're able to get together with someone who has that same passion, then all of a sudden there's another person that has that same passion. Next thing you know, there's a bunch of you. And the next thing you know, you're taking over life coaching in central New York. And, but it's true though, like little by little, it kind of grows. And that's what, everything has. It's not just me. And that's the thing. I put stuff out there, and it's almost like I do the introductions and they do everything else. But being able to do those introductions where people connect on a certain level about a certain thing, and then they go and do amazing things for the community, that's awesome
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah. Final thoughts and homework for our audience, please.
From me?
From you.
You wait a second. You've been giving homework to my audience for over 10 years, and I get to
This is
do.
true. You get to give homework and final thoughts, please.
um, a lot of people think that they can't do something that they enjoy. Anytime that I've ever given a talk in a classroom, it's, if you can find something that you actually enjoy doing for a living, your life will be a lot happier. And if you're listening to this and, your day to day isn't there, and you dread going to work, a lot of people are like that too. But the fact is, you can change it. Is there something that you have a passion for that you've never tried? Maybe, finding out what that is, and maybe explore, even if it's just writing down things that you like, and then seeing, hey, is there a way to make a living doing that? And even if you don't think there is, maybe blaze a trail to someone and you be the first to do it that way. So that's either that or no homework, because I'm sick of Rebeccah's homework. Um, Final thoughts. Thank you so much for the time and opportunity and friendship. I definitely appreciate you more than you know. And I'm very. I know that I've worked hard. I know that I've put in the time. But I still consider myself very lucky to be able to do what I do for a living. And the reason I'm able to do that is because of the listeners, people that show up to parties that I do at local casinos and local bars, and have me at their weddings for entertainment. The reason I'm able to do what I do for a living is because of the public, and I never lose sight of that.
Yeah. How do people get in touch with you? Big Poppa, Gary Spears.
On all social media outlets, it's Big Poppa CNY, BIGPOPPA CNY, and that's where you'll find me on all platforms.
This has been an incredible episode, and we can all make a difference in community just by being ourselves. And hopefully you felt Gary, you felt his heart, and today's episode impacted you in wanting to make more of a difference in your community, because we live in our communities. Our communities are everything, and we all can make them better. Please note that the content of this podcast is not meant to be therapeutic or to replace any personal growth work that you are already doing with a coach, therapist, or mentor. Take the content, have it inspire you, and then keep working with your support system. Breakthrough is your right. Breakthrough reminds us that we're tougher together and that we're connected to possibility even in the most challenging and possibly darkest times. I'm Rebeccah Silence, creator of Healing is Possible and proud host of the Tougher Together Breakthrough podcast, where we come together and we tell stories of real breakthrough that exist for you as well. Get ready to break through. Get ready to live more free and get ready to experience more breakthrough, because that's your right. If you like what you're hearing on the Tougher Together Breakthrough podcast with me, your host, Rebeccah Silence, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. If you want to get in touch with me, visit RebeccahSilence.com. Your time is now. Your breakthrough begins now.